SunshinehazeCo. I am Aja A. This is going to be your my chair all the way up. I guess it is. This is going to be your month. This is not going to be your monthly tarot. Look at me, I need to go to bed. This is actually the video for the Sagittarius New Moon. It was yesterday, but I did want to get in here and give you guys some insight, give you guys some pointers, some information on what to expect as far as this Sagittarius New Moon and total solar eclipse energy is concerned. Just to jump into it very quickly, what is a new moon? A new moon is when we have the moon in conjunction with the sun. So it appears as if the side of the sun that's facing us is not illuminated. So it appears as if we don't have a moon in the sky. We also had an eclipse. So what happens with the solar eclipse is the moon blocks out the sun, darkens the sun. So as far as the energy is concerned, new moon is new beginnings, new starts, new chapters, rejuvenated, refreshed energy. Our intuition is also heightened as well. And speaking to eclipses, to put it simply, I like to explain them as like amplified new moons and amplified full moons. New moons and full moons on steroids with the energy of transformation attached to it, okay? Really quickly, this was a Sagittarius eclipse, and so this was actually the last eclipse for the Sagittarius and Gemini nodal axis. Which pretty much dealt with the themes of spirituality, adventure. What else do I got here? And travel, and spirituality, adventure, and travel. And we kind of, well, not kind of, we saw these themes as far as, you know, being in a pandemic and travel and, you know, actually being able to go out and explore other places and other energies being very restricted, probably because the world did not necessarily transform the energy the way they were supposed to collectively, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Also saw a lot of people really tapping into that Sagittarius energy of this eclipse axis, and really having faith in themselves and taking that leap to really go and explore what they enjoy and figure out what it is that they want to do, really coming into alignment, tapping into the Gemini innovative energy of the nodal axis, and you know, coming into these innovative spaces of figuring out how to create funding, create resources, create happiness and positivity in our lives while we were dealing, while we are still dealing with a pandemic. But we're wrapping this nodal axis up now. So with that being said, we're probably going to start to see this pandemic energy start to wrap up. I haven't tapped too much into the pandemic, speaking to the next nodal axis. I also haven't done the next reading, but you know, just speaking a little bit to that. We're moving towards the end of this particular era, so to speak, this pandemic era. It's not over yet, but I did want to throw that out there. What else about this axis? This particular eclipse axis started in June of last year, and this is the last eclipse for it. So about a year and a half time we've been dealing with these particular energies, and because this is the last eclipse in this set, we're getting a glimpse of the transformation that we've had within ourselves and our lives over the past year and a half, how that will be lending to our success and our process in the times to come. Also looking at the transformation that we've stepped into over the last year and a half as well, okay? All right, let's get into the new moon information. Like I said, it was yesterday. It was at 2:44 in the morning in 13 degrees. I got a lot of eraser marks on my desk. In 13 degrees, and I will get into the numerology in a few minutes. Let's get into the energy as far as this particular new moon is concerned. It is in Sagittarius, which is the sign of the Archer. And with that being said, Sagittarius energy is fire, hot fire. Sagittarius is adventurous, spiritual. Sagittarius is also, what do I have here? I got everything written down for you guys. Idealistic, adventurous, free-spirited, passionate. That is speaking to fire sign energy. On the shadow side, Sag can be a little aggressive, rebellious, even though I don't think rebellion is that bad, but you know, people's rebellion is negative. So on the shadow side, rebellion, aggression, just being impulsive, also being manipulative as well. So there are a few key points that I want to speak to as far as this energy is concerned, and we'll be dealing with this energy speaking to this new moon. There are a few cycles that it covers. So the new moon, obviously the 2 weeks from new moon to full moon. We're also speaking about the cycle of new moon to the next new moon, so Sagittarius new moon to Capricorn new moon. We're also speaking of Sagittarius new moon to the next Sagittarius new moon next year, And because we're talking about the eclipse, also looking at the time span of the next 6 months, okay? And that's about the time span of eclipse energy. The first point that I have here is going for gold. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Fire signs are noted for having very optimistic energy. So going for gold in these spaces that we have planted our seeds of intention or set goals for ourselves. Sagittarius is also very adventurous. So as far as, you know, having the motivation and the drive to actually want to achieve our goals, we're going to be in a space to where we're kind of like, by any means necessary, we will do whatever it takes. We will do whatever you present. If it looks like it's going to work, we'll try it. We'll see where it takes us. We're down to shoot our arrows over the course of the however long this energy is going to play out. And you know, you can look at your chart in the current transits to see where and when these things are going to be hitting you specifically. But just on a general level, speaking to Sagittarian energy, we are being archers with our goals, and our goal is the bag of arrows, right? Well, our goal is the bag, and the goal is also the destination. So we got this goal, and we've got a bag full of different options, different routes, different paths. And so what we're doing for this lunar cycle with this energy is taking those arrows. Okay, I'm going to try this one thing, and then I'm going to shoot it, and then I'm going to go and retrieve it and see if that worked. I'm also going to shoot this arrow over here. Oh, somebody might bring me an arrow, give me an idea. I'm going to try that arrow too. So really going for your goals, really trying different things, and having the faith that one of those things will work. And now, speaking to Sagittarius energy, because it is fire, that does not mean to be impulsive. Definitely think through the things and think through your course of action, but don't hesitate to shoot that arrow over the next month or so, or over the next 6 months, or the next couple of weeks, okay? Whatever opportunities are coming in for you, especially related to your dreams, your goals, and specifically your passion projects, whatever presents itself to you over this lunar cycle period, go for it. Go for gold, okay? The next point that I have here is expansion. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, or Jupiter's ruled, it's whatever, y'all know what I mean. So Sagittarius is associated with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's the planet of growth. It's the planet of luck. So there is a very positive aspect coming in with this eclipse, and there are a couple of aspects that bring in a little bit of chaotic energy, which I'll get into a little bit later. But as far as the overall energy of this particular eclipse is concerned, we're in spaces, going back to that shooting the arrow analogy, we're in spaces to where we're finally starting to realize what we want and what we need and what we want to do and where we want to be in life. And because of the way that the world has been for the past 2 years now, it's crazy. It is so crazy to say that we've been in a pandemic for 2 years, you guys. For the way that the world has been for the past 2 years, a lot of people are in spaces to where they're like, you know, tomorrow is not promised. So if I have the resources, or if I have the right mind to do it and try it, I'm going to do it, and I am going to try it. And I'm going to do whatever it is that needs to be done, as far as, especially because we're going to be coming into spaces to where we are achieving our goals. So once you achieve these goals, and once you get to the space where you know and you can confirm that you're going to achieve the goal, even if you haven't made it there physically yet, we're already thinking ahead. Well, what's next? How can I make this bigger? How can I create more abundance with this? And so if those things are popping up on your mind, or those things are starting to kind of pop up in the physical for you, give them some light over the next couple of weeks, because this Sagittarius eclipse is bringing it in for you to pay attention to and to work on and to lend your own personal fire to, okay? The next point that I have is Ascension and Awakening. It is no secret that Sag is a very spiritual sign. I talk a lot about how water signs are mostly associated with spirituality and psychism. However, Sagittarius does get to sit at the table with the water sign. Sag is very spiritual. This is a time, and I'm not surprised, and it makes sense because we are in the season of change. Fall energy is associated with change and transformation as well. We're also getting ready to go into the winter season, which is the season of things dying out and clearing out space, so that we can come into new spaces. So when we have things changing, when we have things breaking down, when we're coming into these positions to deal with these energies, we're learning things about life, we're learning things about ourselves, we're learning things about our connections, about, you know, our situations. And as you gain knowledge, you start to see the world in a different light. You start to gain a different perspective. You start to do things a little bit differently. So a lot of us are going to be having aha moments, epiphanies over the course of this lunar cycle. And again, lingering, because we are dealing with an eclipse here. With that being said, as you have these awakenings and these aha moments, it is important for you to take the knowledge that you gain, to take the insight that you gain, and apply it to the path that you're about to set forward on. It does not make sense to gain all this knowledge and to get this insight and be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and then just go back to doing the things that you were doing. That is not Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius gets that idea, and again, they shoot their arrow, and that is what we need to be tapping into on an individual level and on a collective level. Okay. All right. I want to speak to the shadow aspects or the shadow energies very quickly. I did mention earlier that Sag is fire, so Sagittarius is impulsive. Y'all know that. Sagittarius, you know that about yourselves. Be mindful of being impulsive with your moves. Even though you're going to be shooting your arrows, that doesn't mean to just stick your hand in the bag and just let it rip. No, think about what arrow you're going to go for and exactly where that arrow is going and what it does and what that path is going to entail before you make these moves, okay? I also have a note here that speaks to that Sagittarius manipulation and secrecy energy that comes up on the Sagittarius shadow side. Be mindful of not being manipulative and not having ulterior motive. I can't talk. I sound like the Muppets. Having ulterior motives during this lunar cycle. Do all things in light. Do all things with good intentions. The energy that you put into things, the energy that you put forth or put out, is definitely what you get back. Even if you do something that is, you know, kind of malicious, ill intent, and it may play out successfully in that moment, you will see your karma come back around and circle around to hit you. And as my Grammy says, karma hits you 10 times, either worse or better than the way that you dished it. So make genuine moves, make authentic moves. Don't move from a place of malice you should never move from a place of malice, but be very mindful of not being led by the energies that we're dealing with now into those spaces and into those behaviors, okay? All right, let's get into the aspects very quickly. We've got a few. This conjunction to Mercury. There is a there's a sextile to Saturn. There's a quincunx to Uranus, and there's also a conjunction to stars Alwade and Antares. And y'all know I might have went completely left on the pronunciation of those star names, but that's neither here nor there. What matters is I give y'all the information about the energies. Okay, I'll work on how to pronounce these stars. So speaking first to this new moon conjunction to Mercury, this brings in a lot of intellectual energy, good communication. There's also a shift in perspective, and I did speak to that a little bit earlier. Mercury is the planet of communication, and they in old astrology books they call it the planet of friends and neighbors, which is literally like the collective and the community. So social interactions that are lending and leading to success and prosperity and changes that can bring about the results that you want to see and the goals that you've put in place for yourself. We've got a sextile to Saturn. Saturn, as you guys know, Saturn is not a very easy to deal with, but because this is a positive aspect and Saturn is associated with Capricorn, very grounding, very earth energy. So while we got all this fire swirling around and all this energy and all of this excitement, we do have this sextile to Saturn to kind of bring us down and ground us a little bit, and give us, you know, insight and organization and direction with these goals. And as far as where we're shooting our arrows, that Saturn energy is really good for that, okay? There's a quincunx to Uranus. Uranus is the planet of unexpected change and shifts happening. And this is not an extremely bad aspect, but it does bring in a little bit of, as I mentioned earlier, chaos. So there could be some changes going down that were not necessarily foreseen. Could be causing a little bit of strife within your life. And you can look at, again, where the moon and the eclipse is passing over your particular chart, passing over your personal chart, to see where you might be dealing with those issues. But we do have these other positive aspects that kind of not necessarily negate this quincunx energy, but it does lighten it up a little bit, if that makes sense. And then speaking to the stars, I did say there's a conjunction to Alwade and Antares. These stars do not have the lightest, brightest, most positive energy. There's a little bit of destruction here. There's violent stubbornness. So I'm going to speak to that more on the collective level. You guys, we are still in a pandemic. With that being said, and this being an eclipse, I would not be surprised, and especially with that Uranus energy popping in there, I would not be surprised if there was a little bit of like pushback on the government level, as far as the people asking for help or needing help. Definitely looking at, you know, more COVID restrictions based on these new, or the new strain, y'all, whatever, y'all, based on the new things that we have popping up for us now. And we also still have a lot of social and racial and plenty of, you know, political things going on, and people on different sides of the spectrum, and people are still, there's still a lot of pent up energy from these past 2 years. So definitely might see some collective violence. We did just have a school shooting, so things like that, we're going to be seeing a few more. Hopefully not any more school shootings, but I don't be surprised if you hear about a few more violent happenings over the next couple of weeks with this eclipse energy. Okay. Also, I did want to speak to the star Alwade is known for like natural resources, specifically speaking to like water and air pollution. So y'all, I was about to sound like my grandmother. Mark my words. With us still being in a pandemic, you guys, I would not be surprised if we start to hear something about this new, and not to say that they stopped saying it was airborne, but they definitely died down on pushing that. There's definitely going to be a hype or a panic talking about the way that these viruses are transmitted via air particles, saliva particles. And I wouldn't be surprised if we heard some nonsense like COVID's in the water. So start buying some bottled water. I did mention this in the last COVID reading that we might need to stock up, and just the way that things are playing out, I'm starting to see that we need to be a little bit more proactive with that. I need to be a little bit more proactive with that. So, you know, just throwing that out there, you guys. I will put up that COVID reading probably in about a week or so, by the way. Okay, let's get into the numerology. This is a lot of 3 degrees energy happening here with this lunation. 12 degrees is what the eclipse happened in. 1 and 2, manifestation, new beginnings, new chapters, new cycles, independence, and also things coming together, balance, harmony, peace. Breaking down into 3, which is all about, you know, manifestation, community, creativity. This eclipse axis and this eclipse bringing in glimpses, like I said, of what's coming for us, and also looking at the work that we've done over the past year and a half and how that is going to be beneficial to our path and our journey currently. This moon happened on a 3-day. Yesterday numerically was a 3-day. Again, speaking to that 3 energy, manifestation, creativity, community, communication, social interactions I mentioned earlier. So social interactions over the course of this lunation and this lunation's energy really bringing in new opportunities and new insight into how we can achieve success on the goals that we have put in place for ourselves. Okay. All right, very quickly, rituals. You guys know I don't do it big for rituals like that. Like I keep it very simple. Just wrote in my new moon journal, and I do say if you're going to do new moon intentions, you need to specifically have one notebook, a notebook that you don't use for anything else. You don't rip pieces of paper out. You don't write down phone numbers and little notes that you got to go back and look in later. You literally kind of treat it like a Bible. You don't put nothing on it. You leave it as is, and you only write your new moon intentions in it. And when you write new moon intentions, you want to speak to things coming in. This is not a time of release. So you want to speak like I am, I do, I can, I will, I have, and speaking to the energies that I was talking about throughout the course of this video, okay? I like to incorporate like colors and smells and sounds. So listening to Sagittarius, I associate with third eye chakra, third eye. Why did that sound so weird? Third eye chakra energy. I also associate Sag with them like sacral and solar plexus. So I'll probably listen to some like solfeggio frequencies or chakra music associated with those energies. Writing with purple or gold as far as my intentions are concerned. Smells for those chakras like essential oils, things of that sort. Also working with Sagittarius stones, and I do have some written down for you guys. Smoky quartz, goldstone, blue goldstone is another one too. You are very welcome. Hey, love. Yellow topaz, lapis lazuli, blue lace agate, amethyst, labradorite. Those are just a few. Google is free, as I always say. Y'all know how it is. You can hop online and just type in stones with Sagittarius energy, like Sagittarius stones. Alrighty, you guys. That is all of the information that I have for you. So just to wrap this up, the Sagittarius new moon and solar eclipse. Again, wrapping up this Sagittarius and Gemini nodal axis. With themes speaking to spirituality, adventure, expansion, and I don't know what that word is. Oh, and community, because we're Gemini. It's like, what is that? And as far as this new moon is concerned, really bringing in themes of ascension, adventure, and really putting us in a position to really want to go for gold and achieve our goals, and putting us in the position to start making those moves as well. The people that are going to be mostly affected by this moon are people with a lot of Sagittarius in their chart, obviously Sagittarians, people with a lot of fire in their chart. If you've got a lot of mutable energy, more so speaking to Sag and Gemini, because that's the eclipse axis that we're on, but any mutable sign, if you have a lot of that mutable energy in your chart, this is definitely going to be a more intense or more transformative eclipse for you. What else? 12-degree energy, a lot of 12 degrees or degrees within that orb, and also my 9th house people. This is an eclipse for you, okay? And also you can look at anywhere any of the things I mentioned are placed in your chart to give you some insight into what aspects of your life are going to be touched by this particular eclipse, okay? And for example, you can also look at the transits too to kind of see where you're going to be feeling these energies. So for example, if this eclipse is passing over your natal 10th house, you're definitely going to see some shifts in career and business and finances and things of that sort, okay? As far speaking more so to the changes that are coming in, because we are dealing with a solar eclipse. All right, you guys, that's all I got for the energy for this new moon, solar eclipse, Sagittarius. Wrapping up the Sagittarius Gemini nodal axis. Very quickly, a few plugs. Check out the Taurus full moon, because that is the full moon that's starting the new Scorpio Taurus eclipse nodal axis. And then whenever the Gemini full moon is happening, I'll put that video up as well. What else, you guys? December general tarot forecasts are up. I am doing a raffle for this month. To figure out how to enter that raffle, you just need to go and watch your general forecast for this month. I tell you how to enter in those videos, and you also enter by commenting on those particular videos. What else, you guys? Retrograde series, we're going to have the Venus retrograde coming up here in like a week or so. Also, we've got a couple of planets still in retrograde, so check out that series. We're in eclipse season, so check out the eclipse series playlist. What else? It's a good time to look at and reflect on the year. So the 2021 tarot forecast. I also like to suggest the decade timeless readings. I got hella plugs for you guys tonight, but I'm not sorry. Not sorry. Also, because we are getting ready to wrap up the year, I offer 2 different New Year readings. I've got like a regular general one, and I've also got an extended one that also gives a card for each month. If you're interested in booking either of those, I will have those linked down in the description box once I put the description in for this video when I finish streaming. And also, you guys, it's eclipse season. I have a lot of Cancer energy in my chart, so the moon be messing with me. And it's funny, I'm kind of flipped. When we have lunar eclipses, I cannot sleep. When we have solar eclipses, I am very sleepy. I had all the intentions to put up love readings for you guys for this month, but I don't think I'm going to get around to doing that, because I also have a lot of other videos I want to get up before the year is over. So what I'm going to do, because I'm not putting up love readings, as a gift to you guys, I am going to super discount all of the love readings that I offer. I'm going to put up a post tomorrow with the link on how to get them. I won't be discounting them on my Etsy shop. You'll need to actually book them directly with me. So if you are interested in that, I'll put the links in the description box. You know what, I'll do it tonight. I'll put the links in the description box, and I'll also put a post up tomorrow talking about those discounts. And I'll come back in January with the love readings for you guys. I'm like, you know what? Look, keep it real with yourself, girl. You're not doing love readings this month. You're sleepy. You are sleepy. So that's how it's gonna go. So if you want a love reading, it'll be hella discounted. I'm probably more than half off because I offered 3 different ones. So check that out within the next couple hours or the next day or so. I'll have all that information up there for you guys. You can tell I'm sleepy. I closed my notebook and I keep looking at my notebook like I'm looking at words. I'm not looking at anything but sparkles. All right, guys. I'm going to go to bed on that note. Thank you for tuning in. Happy eclipse season. Happy New Year coming up. Happy birthday to the Sagittarians. All of the things. Enjoy this transformative energy and the positivity and the motivation that this Sagittarius energy brings in. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace and good night.